Welcome back to the Coaching Corner. Here with me now is a special guest, Coach Jerry Staton, Hall of Fame coach. And Coach, it's so good to see you. And 48 minutes to play, a lifetime to remember. You have written another book, the story of my life in football. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to write this book and maybe some history behind it.
Well, Jason, I will, but first I want to say that it's great to be back here in Blue Demon country and seeing a lot of the family faces that I knew over the years, and it's just a great community. And the book, 48 Minutes to Play and a Lifetime to Remember, is a collection of my memories of my time playing football from when I was just a little kid, the way my parents brought me up and Dad took me to games, and going through to the grade school and junior high years, and then my playing days in high school and college, and then I began the coaching journey. And we all have a story to tell, and the story needs to be told for the young people that played for us or played with us, because the memories are very treasured, and the lessons that we learned playing the game of football have helped so many of us. You get knocked down 7 times, you get up 8, and life is going to deliver those knockout punches. You got to get back up on your feet, and these stories relate to that. And I've got stories from all the schools I coached at. A lot of Albia stories in there, and things that happened on the journey that we made going to the Dome 3 times. And I really enjoyed my association with the coaches here, but it's a chance to reflect back on all the good memories that are created, and that's one thing football does. It creates good memories.
Well, Coach, there's a place where memories start, and there's a place where love begins. And hey, you just mentioned all the memories, and you certainly love the sport, but what was maybe that one moment or that first memory that made you fall in love with this game?
Well, I have to go back really to when I was a child. My brother was playing football, and I was younger than him, and Dad would take me to the games, and I was just in awe of those big guys and the way they blocked and tackled and ran around. And I remember it was raining really hard. Thelma was playing Centerville, and I was with my dad, and we were on the sidelines, not up in the stands, and he wrapped a blanket around us to keep the rain off, and I was peering out through the opening in the blanket and just admiring what I saw. And then I met a man named John Campbell, who was my first coach in grade school. And he gathered us together and said, "Okay, Staton, what position do you want to play?" And I said, "Well, anything where I touch the ball." And I was thinking, quarterback, fullback, tailback. He says, "Good, we need a center." Well, that's not what I had in mind, but he looked at me and probably knew I'd be a better center than I would be a quarterback, and that's where I played. And but that man was such a good, positive influence on my life, and that's one of the great things we've had here in Albia, Jason, with you leading the youth program and getting a good, positive experience with those young people. You can drive a kid away from football pretty easily at a young age. They're tender-hearted, and grade school, you can still make a kid cry when you discipline them. In high school, that's harder. But I was influenced by a great man, John Campbell, and I'll be forever grateful that he helped me love the game of football. I have so many memories, and I hope that's what this book does, will create other memories. I was the coach, and I saw it one way. My assistant coaches might not have had exactly the same view, and for sure the players didn't have the same view. And some of the players have written in the book and mentioned their favorite memories, and there were a few surprises even for the old coach when I read some of the things that they had to say.
Well, Coach, what do you attribute the success of your career, and what do you contribute that to? Where did all this success come from? It's obviously nothing is easy, and it's never a straight road. And the game of football itself knocks you down. You got to get back up. But what's that contributing factor that allowed you to become a Hall of Fame coach and be so successful at every stop you had along the way?
Well, Jason, that's one of the easiest questions you ever asked me because I know exactly how that happened. Most of the other coaches that I had, winning was the goal. And when at Parsons College, we had great success. We were two-time undefeated conference champions, but the coach there was really a hard-nosed, and we practiced on Sundays sometimes, and it just wasn't fun football. My senior year, a man named Frosty Westring took over the program, and he took the captains out to an FCA, a Fellowship of Christian Athletes Conference, in Estes Park, Colorado. And he introduced me to a whole new way of playing football. It was based on not beating the other guy, but being your best. And at that conference, Fellowship of Christian Athletes Conference, I heard some great speakers. The first one was Paul Anderson. He was a giant of a man, and he put 19 guys on a table and lifted them up in the air on that table. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But then he talked about how Jesus Christ had turned his life around. And I thought, man, that was a great speech. And the next night, I was surprised because I thought, how can you top that? Well, they had a guy named Jesse Owens, and he talked about Hitler turning his back on him on the oval track in Berlin when in the Olympics, and how Jesus Christ helped him have the strength to stay strong in that area. And then the next speaker was a guy that was paralyzed. He was an Olympic world champion pole vaulter, but he broke his neck on a trampoline trying to train for the trampoline for the pole vault. And he said, I'm the luckiest guy in the world because through this I met Jesus Christ. So from that point on, I had a different perspective of football, and it was supposed to be fun and Christ-centered. And even though some people don't like putting religion back in the program, I barreled ahead, straight ahead, and I said, if they're gonna have to fire me because I'm going to do it. I'm going to spread the word and do whatever I could to influence young men to be better men, but to also to accept Jesus Christ as their Savior. And these are times where sometimes that's a dangerous thing to say because you offend somebody, but I think they need to be offended, and I'm going to do my part. But that's how I got started, and any success that I had came from that experience and from making football a fun sport and instilling in young men pride and a work ethic and a belief in some power greater than themselves.
Well, what do you say to those who say, well, that seems like a soft, weak approach to football game that's about toughness and you're knocking the guy down?
Well, if you believe, they threw a guy named Daniel into the lion's den, and he wasn't afraid to go face that. Another guy named David, he met a big giant. He wasn't afraid. He got it done. Fear is what comes from the unknown. I know where I'm going to be one day. And when you have that kind of backing, how can you be afraid? How can you back away? I'm sure not perfect, but I try to be, and I try to do what I can to be a positive influence on the lives of those people that I touch. And, we all have a role to play wherever we are, and I want to be the best me I can be wherever I am. And if it bothers other people, that's their problem, not mine. And I'm not going to force myself on them. I'm not going to try to force my beliefs on them, but I am going to state my beliefs and try and tell them how much more fun and fulfilling life can be if they do believe. The book is full of a lot of stories and neat things that happened that the fans may not know about, and certainly the players know about. But to be in the locker room after a very disappointing loss in the semifinals where we really felt like we could have won the game, and to have those guys saying they love each other, and oh wow, what a great feeling that is for a coach. That is success. We didn't win the game, but we won the program, and I think that says a lot.
Well, as you usually do, Coach, I come up with a question and you answer it with the right question. So, but we don't want to take any. You need to read this book, folks. And but is there a few moments that maybe stand out to you in the book that that maybe are highlights in your career?
There are so many, it's hard to pick one or two highlights. Winning the state championship and having the players form a tunnel for me and my son the year that we were state runner-ups, and they were heartbroken about the loss to Harlan. And his teammates formed a tunnel for us to walk through, even though they were brokenhearted about not winning that game, but they loved us enough to want to honor us that way. That's a pretty special moment. And I think different games stand out. I remember we were playing Mid-Prairie, and we came back and won the game late in the game. And that was another great game where the kids just believed and they kept going. I liked it also one time when we were having an afterglow on the field and they turned the lights out on us because we were taking too long on the field. And they'd found our secret. We win the games because we have afterglow after the game. And, well, maybe they're right, we do. But we left the field and then they turned the lights back on. They just don't get it. But things that happened in my lifetime, there are some things that I regret. Back when I was a red car player, and winning was everything, I hit a kid. That's the last human being I've ever hit. Hurt him really bad. Those are some of the things you wish you had a do-over. But in football and life, there are no do-overs. You take what you have and you make the best of it. But I hope that the players that played for me all through all the schools, and particularly here in Albia, will read it and bring back good, pleasant memories of our time together in EMOB football.
Coach, I think about the strength of your family, and that's what this has become. The EMOB has become a family, regardless of the name on the front of the uniforms. They've all have had EMOB in their heart, and eventually on the back of the jerseys, which became offensive to some. But you have coached your son, and you've had your son coach with you. You've coached with your brother, and you have this beautiful lady that stood by your side all these years. And I just think about how this has been a ride for your entire family.
Well, they all are bought in, and they all were a part of it. And the poor wives have to sit up there and listen to the second guessers. Those people know the coach made a dumb mistake. Well, after I call for going on a fourth down, it doesn't make it. I know it's dumb too, but nobody's standing there yelling at me. But my wife knows more about football than a lot of people, but she's been very loyal and it's supported and helped me. And all my children were involved as players or managers or trainers, and my brother came to help me. And I remember one memory. I was driving over for the pep rally before we went to the Dome, and I got a phone call, and my brother had passed away. And I just was devastated. And I'm supposed to get up and give a motivational talk to the students, but I'm just drained. As I have nothing that I can say. And I'm standing there, and finally I asked Coach O if he would go do it, and he did. But I didn't tell the players what was wrong with me. And I think they misread my grief for not believing they could do it, but it was their moment. I didn't want to take away from them the opportunity to go play a great game, but we didn't play very well in the first part of that game, and I think is because I should have probably stayed home. But we rallied in the second half, played better, but we were too far behind to catch up in that game. But you never know what's going on with the person. You can think you know and misread them, but until you really get a chance to talk to them and find out, I finally told the coaches so they understood. But just so many memories. It's a lifetime, and that's my story as I remember it, and I'm sticking to it. Some of the players may question some of the things that happened because they saw it from a different viewpoint, but I do want to give a big shout out to the mothers, where they're part of the family. And I knew we had this program turned around. The game that we were behind in the fourth quarter, and we're driving down the field. There's not much time left, and the moms started the cheer, "Yes, we can. We believe. Yes, we can. We believe." And we put the ball in, and that was a good encouragement from the moms. And it kind of, when it first came, everybody would clap if we had a first down. They kind of clapped politely, but nobody cheered. And Jeff was my spotter. He says, "Dad, what's wrong? These Albion people aren't cheering." He says, and I went down to the cheerleaders going to get them to get the fans fired up, and I thought, no, wait a minute, that's not my job to do that. So I went back to coaching, but I taught the moms some cheers, and those moms got things going. And in our stands, it went from being you're an oddball if you cheer to being you're out of place if you don't cheer. And I just think that was a great thing that the parents helped us so much with the togetherness nights, and we traveled to play the first playoff game against Regina, who was going to go on and win it. It was rainy, cold,
windy, and
it was horrible. And they knocked our all-state tailback out early in the game, and we, first I decided to kick off and try to pin him deep, and the wind was so strong I blew the ball back, and we got an automatic
best onside kick I've ever seen in my life, Coach.
And everybody's saying Staton's a genius. I was surprised as everybody else was at that one. But in the first play we gained I think 20 yards on 43 dive, but then they slammed the door, and they had a really great team. But what impressed me the most was after that game, our people were still in the stands, and the other side, the team that was going to go on and win the state championship, their bleachers were empty. And I say, how can we not be successful with people like that they love their kids so much that they'll stay and sit in the rain to cheer them on? And, of course, then we always go do a cheer for our fans after the game. But that was another thing that impressed me. And the support I got from the assistant coaches, from the youth coaches, and from you, Jason, who headed up that program, was just success had to happen.
Coach Jerry Staton, Hall of Fame coach, and this is a must-have book, 48 Minutes to Play, A Lifetime to Remember, the story of my life in football. And, Coach, it's always great to see you. And there's got to be a documentary that's done. You've been putting this to pen, but in my word, there's got to be a documentary done because of the impact that you've had on so many lives. And I think that the title of a coach may be one of the most important one that a man can wear, and have you worn it well? Thank you, Coach, so much.
Thank you, Jason. Might make a great movie, huh?
I think so. I think so.
Well, thanks for your support over the years, and you and that buddy of yours up in the stand in the press box sure kept things positive, and that's a big help to the coaches. And I want to thank all the Albia people that supported me so strongly when I was here. I love you guys, and nothing but good memories of my time in Albia High School.
As the outstanding Hall of Fame coach, Coach Jerry Staton, and as he always says, the best is yet to come. We'll be back after a timeout. You're listening to The Coach's Corner.